Everyone, welcome back to TV5 News at 9. It's time now for Aging in Style with Vitale Wealth Management. Joining us now is President owner Joe Vitale.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Blake. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Doing good.
All right.
Good.
So, of course, don't forget to get Joe's newsletter, Financial Vitals, for the latest in market trends, financial news. You can do it by scanning the QR code on your screen to get access. Today's topic, though, is the impact of inflation, which can be felt in many aspects of our everyday lives. We all know it. But let's talk about how inflation might impact your retirement planning strategy. So, Joe, how can retirees really ensure that they cover their expenses as they age, especially on fixed sources of income?
Well, let's talk about that. And I know I'm going to go back to, inflation is transitory. Well, my foot is transitory. It's hanging around, isn't it? So, and that's the other thing, too. They keep saying, are our rates going to go down? You know, they're going to start dropping interest rates. Well, that's inflationary. If they cut rates, inflation still hasn't come down. So we're having issues with that, and it's hanging around a long time. And a lot of time retirees who are on the fixed income, and they got a little Social Security increase last year, but not a lot, not to keep up. So it's nice to be able to have, we always recommend making sure you have enough cash on hand, right? But on the fixed income, how are you keeping up with all that? Well, there are some things. You are still seeing that you can still get a very good fixed rate of return at 5 and 5.5%, which is higher than inflation right now. So if there's any money on the sidelines, make sure that money's working for you. Also, there are other products that actually have increasing income. So they do keep pace a little bit with it. So you can put them in where they'll give you a guaranteed income stream where every year it could go up as well. So that's another way to help keep track, keep pace with inflation, because let's face it, if there's a pension, there's no inflation rider on pensions. Social Security does go up a little bit every year, and last year was 8, or the year before was over 8, this year was only 3. Not keeping track with inflation. So it's nice to be able to make sure that you have some products out there, some issues, some ways to get income coming in. Another way is on some of their investments. If they're not pulling from the investments, if they're in the right type of products, we have some good dividends, we can just peel off some dividends from that, give them a little bit extra income without selling anything. So that way you don't have to worry about the volatility of the market, and if we have to sell in a down market, we just peel off dividends to help with that. So there's ways. I mean, of course, don't do it on your own. Don't try this at home, right? But give us a call, we'll help you with that.
Don't enter at your own risk, right?
Right, exactly,
At what age would you suggest retirees start claiming their Social Security?
Everybody always says, oh my gosh, at 70 years old, you have to do it because you got to let it ramp up that 8%, right? That's the best way to do it, is let it up. Not every situation is that way. There are different variables. You don't know what that's going to do to your portfolio if you retire early or if you need to retire early, and you won't be able to make up for it. The break-even point is always right around 77, 78, 80. So every situation is different. So yes, I like to say sometimes it's 62, but if you're retired, if you're still working, definitely not. Full retirement age is 66 in a few months to 67. But if you can wait 70, there are options for that. So what we do is a Social Security maximization strategy, show them the optimal way, and then I infuse it in a 30-year roadmap, and I show them what the best strategy will be for them. Every case is different.
Of course, yes. And we talk about allocation a lot. Allocation, allocation, allocation. It's the new phrase that we all need to know. So how can we really ensure that our allocation policies align with the current market?
You give me a call.
That's the best way to do it.
That's the best way. Because a lot of times everybody's like, well, my gosh, they don't most retirees and most people I sit down with, they really don't understand what their 401k has or what their investments have. We like to show, are you in a 60-40 or in a 50-50, how much stocks? And you see the bond market, the bonds have really taken a hit because interest rates are so high and they still haven't really come down. And if you're in bonds, you could get a good yield and some good income, but you're losing value on a lot of them. So we look at allocations, making sure you have that safe bucket of money that can still give you a 5% plus rate of return. And part of it is we're looking at locking that in for long term, because interest rates will come down. They will come down maybe the end of this year, first quarter next year, we're going to start to see them coming down. So when that happens, we want to make sure that we have something locked in long term. So to allocate money for that, but also for growth, because we're going to see the stock market is going to go up and down. But we want to make sure we capitalize on that when it does go up, and we just don't know. Nobody's got that crystal ball. So if you're properly allocated, you don't have to worry about it.
Perfect. And Joe, you know, do you recommend inflation protected bonds, and if so, why?
You know, the tips, there have been a couple years ago when they first started going up, you were getting 9, 10, 11%.
Okay.
They're back down. They're back down now. So no, I'm not a big advocate of that right now. And a lot of times some people really can't figure that out because you really got to go to treasurydirect.com and do them a lot of times. And you're going online to do it. And it's just, it's not horrible, but you can do fine on your own right now. I mean, there's products that are giving you a 5% guarantee, 5.5 for 5 years, and growing tax deferred. So there's a lot of good strategies right now.
And what about 401ks and IRAs? Does that play a role in a retiree's, you know, growing of their wealth?
It's a lot of times the biggest part of their wealth, right? Because for the majority of people, even if you just put the max into your 401k and get a company match and you don't touch it for 30, 40 years, you're a millionaire. I mean, that's how awesome that is for most people, right? If they leave it alone, okay? Right. If they leave it alone. So it's a huge part of their wealth, and the IRAs as well. But then a lot of people are like, my gosh, I don't want to touch it because I'm going to be taxed on it. Yeah. Well, that's the way it is. You know, 72, 73, now 75, depending on how old you are, you have to take required minimum distributions. So we look at the smart way to take money out. We want it because it's all going to be taxable, and sometimes that can make your Social Security taxable, throw you into a higher tax bracket, and that could erode your wealth. Okay. So we look at ways to do it proper taxing, trying to look at tax-free strategies, required charitable distributions where you could have it go to charity and not pay tax. Yeah. But there's a lot of strategies that we can, when we're looking at the whole holistic plan, is taking money out smartly, not hitting them with a huge tax bracket, but also reducing taxes down the future and giving you tax-free money. So it's all about preserving your wealth through tax strategies. Very, very important. Lots of avenues to consider here. 100%. In this discussion. Absolutely. Anything else you want to add before we go, Joe? Well, lots of avenues. It's not what you make, it's what you keep, right? I mean, it's what you keep. And if you're not smart about it, and if you just don't know, I mean, you could be missing out. There's so many different strategies. So give us a call. We'd love to help and put you in the right direction. Perfect. Joe, thank you. Thanks, Blake. All right. And before we go, don't forget those market updates and more through Joe's newsletter, Financial Vitals. And for more information on today's topic, you can find the Aging in Style page on WNEM.com.